This is Twit.
If you have been waiting for Pebble to throw a bone to Android users, a way of an app store, wait no longer. The beta version of Pebble's Android app is now available through their site. It gives Pebble owners access to more than 1,000 apps for the smartwatch. Phil, I think you're a fan of Pebble. I think I heard through the grapevine.
I might have a brand new Pebble Steel right here.
So now I want to hear about this, because when that got announced, a friend of mine sent it to me, because I've been on the edge of the smartwatch. You know, and Jason, you know this. I really want a smartwatch. The Samsung offering didn't impress me. The first round of Pebble didn't impress me. Phil, tell me about this. The Pebble Steel. Is this the smart?
It's night and day compared to the original Pebble. It really is. I'm not 100% sure it's 100% better, but it's smaller. I think it's a tad thinner. Definitely a smaller footprint in the face. The leather is so much nicer than the rubber. Now you can switch bands on the old school, but it really is nice here. I've got the Link watch band here as well.
Cool.
No, it's for $250. Look, it's definitely more expensive. You know, what was the original Pebble? $149, I think, and you had all sorts of deals with that, so you can get it cheaper. But I like the hell out of this. I've only had it for a couple hours now. Getting the Pebble App Store onto phones is a huge deal. I don't think we can overstate that enough. How big a deal that is for Pebble to be able to bring that sort of thing under its own roof and control it a little better. And that's nothing against the developer community for Pebble, because all kinds of great people. The German-based watch face generator, I think today said they did 160,000 watch faces on Monday. There's a whole bunch going on with Pebble, especially with the 2.0 release of the software. And we're still in the early stages. I wouldn't blame somebody for holding off. I have an old friend of mine messaging me right now on Facebook asking, should I buy one of these for my husband? I've used all of these, right? I've got a Galaxy Gear sitting here. I used the Qualcomm Talk for a while. We're still very much in the infancy. I'm real curious to see what Samsung brings next. I like the kind of indie underdog nature of Pebble Steel, of Pebble. I like the company. Hung out there for a day in December, and we did a big piece on them and got to meet the people there. And that makes a difference to me a little bit editorially. So I think they've got more flexibility to do things that people are going to want in a smartwatch. Ron, what are you worried about? What's holding you back?
Well, the thing that held me back from the first Pebble was the e-ink display. Mm-hmm. I want a more colorful, kind of a better resolution kind of display. And I saw this when I saw a tricolor LED, but then I realized that's just the charging indicator light, right? It's not right. So, so it's really right now, it's this, like, if you could take the gutso of Pebble and the DIY spirit of it and put the Samsung Watch display in it, then I think that would be what I want, because I want innovation. I want to be able to put different apps onto it. Even though I'm anti-Samsung for rolling out their smartwatch in their own app store, and so I kind of need to apply the same thing to Pebble, I guess, the same kind of, I don't want another app store to manage it. So I guess those are my two kind of things: is the independent app store and the display being not very nice.
Yeah, and I look at the displays, on one end of the spectrum you have Pebble and e-paper and e-ink, and on the other end you have AMOLED, which Samsung has always done really well, but you've got to balance the battery life there, and that's where AMOLED, it just it's night and day difference compared to between that and between Miracast that Qualcomm's done.
What's been the battery life on the Samsung Watch in your experience? Does it die quickly, or?
When I was using it, I was actually getting a little more than they advertised at first. I need to sit down and use it some more since it's gotten some updates. But yeah, I mean, you're talking, maybe 3 days versus 4, 5, 6 on Pebble.
Well, I'm fine, and that's the thing, is that I would be fine with taking the watch off and charging it overnight. I mean, that's how I do it on my phone, you know. And like, very rarely can I think of a scenario where I'm out for 3 days without access to an outlet. So it's like, you know, so that almost isn't a kind of a thing. But I really want to be able to just look at my phone and see a message coming in or see a mail thing, and then, you know, and not have to respond or do anything for it, but just have that linking of it. And then I guess, I mean, and the Pebble isn't touchscreen or anything like that. You're just using the buttons, using the physical buttons. So all the apps have to be designed around those physical buttons. Is that correct? Or
Yeah, the gestures that Samsung was using, I mean, you get used to them quickly enough, I think. I like the button scheme on Pebble, especially now that they've changed it a little bit. So when you're flipping through watch faces, it goes up and down with the buttons instead of left and right. And I got used to it easily enough. I think Qualcomm had a lot of work still needed to be done with its gestures and where you have to press to get things to work on it. Pebble is nice and simple. You've got, you know, 4 buttons, and one is back, one is select, and 2 are left and right or up and down. I wish there were a better way for people to try these. And I think that's why it's so important. That's why we just started an entire website dedicated to smartwatches, smartwatchfans.com, for a plug. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Nicely done.
But I think it's that important because it's tough to, you know, you can't just go and try these out unless you're Samsung and you're in, you know, a Samsung store or a carrier store. But for everybody else, they're kind of relying on us to be the guinea pigs. That'll change, I think. But it's a really exciting space. I can't wait to see what comes next. And I wasn't even a watch guy. I haven't worn a watch in years. You know, you don't need to. I'm in front of a computer all day. I have phones in my pockets and tablets. But being able to get notifications, in fact, that's the other thing I think Pebble has done better than everybody else, is displaying the notifications that Samsung launched without being able to show, you know, Gmail or, you know, anything but its own apps. It was horrible. It was just Samsung trying to be first. It's gotten a little better with the software updates, but I still think, and Qualcomm does it the same way Samsung does, they're just piggybacking the notifications instead of actually tapping into your account so it can show one email at a time, because they're small screens with limited amount of space, and you need to be very, very, I think, discreet in what you're showing there, and Pebble has done that right.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the kind of thing where, I mean, I don't necessarily need to read the whole darn email, but if I can just get a quick look and see who the emails are coming in from and the subject line, that tells me whether, okay, I need to stop what I'm doing, pull out my phone, and go deal with this. I mean, from a work-based standpoint. I will say the thing about Pebble Steel that got my eye is that it looks like a real watch as opposed to a toy.
Right.
Like the first one looked a little too plasticky and a little too toy for me. So I mean, it was on the show. I was looking at Pebble Steel and I was like this close to pulling the trigger on it, but I'm like, I don't know. So I don't know. But Phil, you've really helped me in terms of getting a good feel for it, a good idea for it. Again, I haven't worn a watch in 5 years, 6 years maybe. So it would definitely be a status quo change. That's for sure.